Setting career priorities is somewhat of a challenge sometimes. What we need to always focus on are the aspects of what our priorities should be, both in our career and outside of our career, our life. Roll it. Today's video is all about careers, and I was asked specifically to talk about that growth, that movement forward on careers. How do we prioritize different things as we start moving through a career? Now, when we're looking at careers in general, everybody goes through their own situation and their own process of growth. And this is where people always ask me, well, I want to be up here. How do I get there? And when we start the coaching, it turns out they don't even want to be there, or they want to be there, but they've taken a totally different route. Now, when it comes to careers and the direction you want to take to get somewhere, it can be different for all of us. To put this into perspective, when somebody starts out their career and they don't know where they want to go, eventually they know they want to be up here, and they have to do this long route because they didn't start towards a direct path because they didn't know they want to be there. Clearly, somebody who had a direct path right out of school would get there faster. But somebody who didn't and they were working different jobs, well, they would be going in different directions until they figured it out. So how does this work out? Well, when we're looking at the idea of where you want to be, you want to ask yourself, is this me? Is this what I want to be doing right now? If this is something you really, really want to be doing, then plan out a course of action to get you there. In my winning mentality videos, we touched up about this, and we talked about how to get there with goals and setting goals and smashing those goals to get to your destination. Priorities that come into play are matching those goals, and we go through this process as we go through life. We look at what's happening outside of work, and we look at what's happening within the environment we're at. Now, to be more specific in this video and to not keep talking about a whole bunch of stuff because I can go on forever, we're going to look at 3 different areas. Firstly, if you're new into the world and you're trying to figure it all out, or you've spent 10, 15, 20 years in a career and you don't want to be there anymore, what do you actually need to do to jump forward into something new? The number one thing I tell people to do is go on LinkedIn. Find the people that are doing the things that you've kind of thought about that you want to do. Then what you want to do is go through the process of looking at what they've done. How did they get there? And what you'll find is people with the same kind of positions got there differently, and they did a whole bunch of other things to get there. Everybody has a different road in life, and everybody gets there differently, and you're about to go there differently. However, knowing what they've done helps you bring a calmness first, and then bring the inspiration that, hey, you can too be there one day. What occurs with all of this? Well, now you have the opportunity to start looking at where you are at life and what are the things you can do over the next 6 months, year, 2 years, 5 years to get to that spot. Clearly, again, your road will be different, but now you have guidance, you know what direction to go. And on top of that, you have a list of people that you can reach out to. And I mean, most people you reach out to on LinkedIn, they'll be glad to help. And especially if you tell them, like, hey, I just want some advice. Who knows, you may make an awesome friend. The second area that I want to talk about is what happens when you're working for somebody and you're trying to move up, but things aren't moving forward. Well, this is something that occurs often, and what people always tell me is, well, Nico, they're not giving me a raise, they're not giving me a promotion, they're not getting me up the ladder so I can have more responsibilities, and I don't know what to do. Well, the simple solution is find a new job. Yeah, exactly. Done deal. Go do it. You need to. It's a risk, but it's a risk you should be willing to take. If you want to exceed and you want to see growth, then this is what you need to do. You gotta start growing. So stick around for a year, learn everything you've learned, and then jump to the next position. When you stay at a company for too long, you don't really see the benefit for yourself because you don't really move fast quickly. You kind of stay where you're meant to be in the eyes of whoever's there. What I realized early in my career was that I needed to move around. I needed to do different things for 2 reasons. One was because, hey, I get bored 3-4 months into something and I'm like, all right, where's the challenge? Secondly, I realized that people don't value you as much as you think. However, people outside value you more because they're not taking you for granted yet. And thus, my friends, my lesson in life came where I realized if I stick around too long somewhere, people, they tend to take me for granted and they don't appreciate me, even though I've prioritized them in my life. This is the process that I go through whenever I'm at a place working on a project or doing anything and I've stuck around too long. See, some places, yes, you'll find that appreciation, it'll stick around for a while. The question is, how often does that happen? So if you're somewhere where you don't feel appreciated, if you're somewhere where you're not moving up, if you're somewhere where you're just not getting the dots connected for yourself and for what's occurring for the future and what vision you have, well, it's time for you to start looking for something else. Start applying, start making connections, meeting people, networking. Maybe it's time for you to change careers into something totally different, and then you jump to that first point I was making at the beginning of the video. Number 3 is all about, well, family priorities. And more specifically, I get this question a lot. I'm in my career, I'm moving up, everything's going great, but we want to have a family. We want to start a family. It's a more complicated question than we often think, but then again, for other people, it's not that complicated. The question is why. Now, this why question really needs to be looked at as of where's it coming from? Where's this thought process coming from? A lot of the times people are living in this question period of, well, what if management doesn't want me to leave? What if management is counting on me? What if management replaces me with somebody better? Etc., etc., etc. All of these come from fear. See, in my mindset, what I see as, taking care and family coming first and all that stuff, it's because in my life I've had the fortunate experience of sticking to making sure my family is good first. And it always turns out, whether something went bad or not in the career side of things, family came first, and I always bounced back to something great. I didn't allow fear to get the best of me. I didn't allow fear to take over my integrity of what I know my worth is. Going back on that other point we were making on priorities and people appreciating you and people valuing you, if you feel confident enough that you are valued where you're at and the priority is on you and your family, not just from you but from the people you work with, well, you're in a good environment then. And in this environment, you shouldn't have a worry about taking that year off. Now, if you're in an environment that's not as healthy, well, you really got to ask yourself, do I want to spend X amount of years here? For what reason? And is it good for me? And then on top of that, if I do have a child and then I come back, do I really want to be in this environment? Will it be healthy for me to have a family who are going to need things outside of work? And will this environment allow me to just be able to go take care of my family when I need to? At this point, do we revert back to 1 and 2 and look at what priorities we need within our career in order to have a fulfilling, happy life? Before you go and say, well, it's easier said than done, yeah, you're totally right. Don't be stupid. Yes, it's easier said than done. But that's all based on your fear and the risk of you not staying where you are. It's just fear of you thinking that if you do leave, well, what's going to happen after? What if I don't find better? And if your environment is good, well, that's just fear of you and what you value yourself. So let's look at that and start analyzing that and ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Why am I putting myself down? Again, all of this comes back to ego. It's all about the ego. And ego's driving your decisions, and the reality is that it's not right. There are many people out there that will help you get through this stage where you can decide and make the right decision, really, but work on that decision so that you can have a fulfilling, happy life. Coaches are everywhere. Counselors are everywhere. People are everywhere. If you just watch my videos on a daily basis, I bet your level of self-worth, your value, everything will go up, because this is what I preach, that integrity. Keeping your integrity, trusting yourself. And guess what? 9 out of 10 people that go through these scenarios and are dealing with an ego that is huge, it's all running the fear factor, well, when they jump into that abyss and they go for it and they take the risk, guess what happened? You guessed right, they come out on top. So take the time and really start analyzing where you're at in life, where you are with your career, and ask yourself, firstly, what is best for me, for what I need, for what exactly I see as my future, and what are the steps I need to do in order to achieve those things that I want. And if you're really battling the ego, and if you're really working off of that fear and you want to work against it and start working towards that love, that self-love, that self-need to focus on the integrity, well, there's so many things out there to do. So many of my videos focus on it, but there's so many other videos that focus on it that you can get so much knowledge from. Eckhart Tolle is a great place to start on the fear and the ego talk. Great sets of like books and videos and so many things out there. So take some time, really focus around this and start prioritizing your life so that you can start moving towards those things that you really want to see happen for yourself. Priorities in this way occur by us opening ourselves to that life that we want, that life that we need to see happen in the next year, 2 years, 5 years. And by really looking at all these, now we can start putting everything into place so that our goals match up with the priorities and life starts to connect. This is Nico's Rentas, mentorshipapproach.com. Like, subscribe, and of course, let me know what kind of things you're moving towards in 2018, into 2019, and maybe into 2020.
Snow here.